Do you want to discover more joy, peace, and freedom with food, exercise, and your body? Here we bring a compassionate, holistic, and sustainable approach to fitness so you can fully enjoy the life you want and express your unique self with the world. I'm Michelle Roscoe, and I want to help you find fitness freedom. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, friend. I'm excited to share this week's podcast episode with you. Become powerful in your physical and mental health through simple practices. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. May is, and I'm shining a light on simple things that you can do every day to improve your health and mentally and physically, to feel better, to have a more rich, enjoyable life. So life is made up of habits. That's the premise. If you think about it, most of what we do is regular. So we often, especially if you work like a pretty, a 9-to-5 kind of job, you wake up, you have your little morning routine, you go to work, you come back, you relax, you eat dinner, you do similar things week by week. And a lot of that is not just what we do with our lives and our days, but how we think. We think the same thoughts over and over again. A statistic says that by the age of 35, most of what we do is habit. It's on autopilot. And what we are doing every day, those habits are giving us certain results. And most of us are in a pattern of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And that becomes our life. But if you want to change your life, or you want to improve your health, or you want to have more enjoyment or live more aligned with your goals, you have to change something, right? If you want to expect different results, you have to put something different in. You have to change your mindset, you have to change your actions. And a simple formula for that, or a simple way to see it, is if you want to change your life, change your habits. Because when you change your habits, you're going to change your results. I became fascinated by this concept years ago. I like learning how the world works, how people work. And I thought it was so cool that if this were true, I could change some habits in my life or create some small practices that would give me exponentially better results. I might talk about this in another podcast episode, but do you know that principle, 20% of the things that we do give us 80% of the results? It's a 20-80 rule that has been discovered in nature and in math, I believe. I don't know. The guy's name starts with a P. It's the Pareto principle, or it's escaping my mind. But 20% of what we do gives us 80% of the results. So if I could just spend like an hour or less of my day that could enhance the other 23 hours of my day, how cool is that? Like, I don't have to change what I'm doing completely. I could just add or tweak or change a few things, and it would make such a big difference in my life. So I set out to find out what are the best practices, the best habits that I could create in my life. And I'm excited to share some of those with you today. And of course, this is not perfect. This is not one size fits all. I hate those like, just follow this pattern and you'll become a super successful person. That's a little bit overdone, but they can help you, especially if you're looking to improve your physical, your mental health, if you want to live a more rich life. So it's evolved. Like I said, it's evolved over the years, but here are some simple practices I do that I attribute so much of my stability in life, my growth, and my happiness to, my enjoyment in life. And as someone who's struggled with depression and anxiety and eating disorders and lots of changes in my life, this is especially helpful. In fact, I don't know if I would still be here or how I would even be coping with life if I did not have these practices. And I sincerely mean that. I've been obsessed with my morning routine, with daily habits, and I've gone from everywhere from, tracking it meticulously and being like, from this time to this time, I'm going to do exactly this. And from this time to this time, I'm going to do exactly this. And I've shifted since then. I've learned more self-trust, but I still incorporate these practices. So it might be a learning curve for you. Give yourself patience, give yourself grace. And some of these you might do, but you might have some ideas on what you can improve or what you can tweak to make it even better. So before I even share these, another addendum. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, like I said, and I take an extremely holistic approach to health. And by that I mean, I know that we are whole beings. We're not just physical beings. We're not just mental beings. We're not just emotional beings. We are all of these beings, and they are all interconnected. So you cannot say, I'm going to work on my physical health when your mental health is not doing well, which is kind of the point I make with eating disorders. Is like, on the outside, you may look healthy, you might be eating clean food, you might be exercising regularly, but on the inside, you could be miserable, which is why fitness does not equate health, or health does not equate fitness, but that's a different story. You cannot separate your mental health from your physical health and vice versa. So if you're working on improving your physical health, it's going to, in a healthy way, in a non-obsessive way, you're going to improve your mental health. Exercise is one of the best ways to decrease depression and anxiety. And if you're working on your mental health, you'll notice that you feel lighter physically, after a good therapy session, or even connecting with other people, working on your emotional well-being, having a really good connection or conversation with another human being where you see each other. That can really boost your mood. It can boost your energy and enhance your physical health. It all supports each other. So when I'm giving you something that might be more related to mental health, know that it's directly impacting your physical health and vice versa. Okay, so these are some practices that I do every single day, and that could be helpful for you. First one is gratitude. Gratitude. Studies show that gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions that we can have. It is on the higher end of the vibrational energies of emotions, and it is transformative. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude has been shown to improve mental health. And why is that? Because when you're practicing gratitude, you are looking at what is going well in your life. A lot of the times when we're depressed, when we're anxious, we're overly focused on what is going wrong with our lives, what is wrong with us. But gratitude is a great way of expressing enoughness, sufficiency, goodness, love, and it can be surprising how much we take for granted. If you were to, some ways that you can practice this is to say, I'm going to think of 10 things every morning that I'm grateful for. And by the way, in the 4-H method, this becomes a daily habit, and there's support around it. And it's why I put it in there, because it's so important. But you can think about 10 things that you're grateful for and really feel into those things that you're grateful for. Not just listing it off like there's a difference between just saying things rotely. I remember we would pray at the beginning of each meal in my family. It was a practice, and I think that's a valuable practice to express gratitude for your food, but it was a little bit ritualistic, and it can be ritualistic, or it can be for show, where someone just, says a really long prayer before a meal, and you're like, let's just get to eating, I'm hungry. But there's a difference between true gratitude, where you're feeling it and you're expressing it from your heart, and gratitude that's just like, thanks for my home, thanks for my family, thanks for my kids, thanks for my dog, thanks for my food. Okay, it's not as effective. You're just saying it with your words. But if you can really tap into that gratitude, just 10 things in the morning as early as possible. You can also challenge yourself. And this is something I do with Squats Giving. It's a free challenge that I do around Thanksgiving, is we practice increasing our gratitude list and our squats. Over the 10 days, we start with 10 and go up to 100. And everyone says that the squats are challenging, but not as hard as the gratitude. If you could challenge yourself even to say, I'm going to write down a list of 50, 100 things that I'm grateful for. At first, you might have some blocks, but once you get that flow going, you'll realize, wow, I have so many things in my life to be grateful for. I have so many good things in my life. And by the way, there's difference also between that rote gratitude and, actual genuine gratitude. There's also a difference between guilt and gratitude. And I see this pretty often, especially maybe with religious backgrounds, is like this idea of, all these people have it a lot worse than you. You should feel grateful for what you have. And I would say that that's not true gratitude. That's more along the lines of guilt, like almost like you should feel guilty for what you have, or if you have something that you should, quote unquote, be grateful for, but you don't really enjoy or you're not happy with, that's guilt. There's a difference there. And it can be a manipulation tactic that we use on ourselves or that we use with others, that others use with us. So there's a difference between guilt and gratitude. True gratitude, genuine gratitude is a feeling of expansiveness, of love, of opening your arms up and thinking, wow, I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful for my life. And like Oprah says, what you focus on expands. So if you're going to focus on what you're grateful for, more of that's going to come into your life. You're going to bring more of that into your life. Sufficiency is always the truth. This is what Lynn Twist says in The Soul of Money. Sufficiency is always the truth. And if we can look around and come into this moment and just see how beautiful life is right now in this moment, even if it's something super small, there's always something to be grateful for. Okay, next one. And by the way, gratitude is the best fertilizer for creating your dreams and creating your goals, making them real in your life. Joe Dispenza talks about this in talking about change and transformation, getting into the feeling of where you want to be and practicing gratitude for it as if it already exists. So from already enough, you can create. And this is another thing that I do every day. I look at, by the way, I wake up at 4:56 every morning. There's been a few times where I've missed my alarm, but pretty much, I guess maybe fewer than 10 times a year. I miss it 5 times maybe. Pretty much every day I wake up at 4:56. I go and do these habits that I'm talking about, and I pull out this document that holds my goals, and there's another one that holds my dreams, and one that holds my stories that I want to create. And I practice one or all of these little documents. I do take out one or all of these documents every morning, and I remember what I want my life to look like, what I am moving towards, what I want to create with my life. Because if you don't have somewhere that you want to go, you're just going to stay in that same pattern. If you know, like, I don't like where I'm at, I want to feel better, that's a great motivation. That's a great place to start. But go a little farther and think about what you do want. And this is why it's so important to be clear on what you want, because how can you create if you don't know what you want? And I do believe that most of us know what we want. We just are so surrounded by shoulds about what we think we should want or what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And let me tell you, you get to create the life that you want. I believe that me having grown up in such a strict religious home and being told in so many ways that I couldn't do what I wanted to do, like that was the message I received over and over again. And then when I got out of that world, I was even more hungry for freedom and more hungry for life. And I think that really helped set me up to know that I get to create my life. And it's pretty amazing, especially in the last few years, how much my life has transformed because I've held on to this premise that I get to create my life, and I have created my life. And if I think about what exists in my life right now, wow, I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude because, I mean, it's not instant. It's not just like you snap your fingers and it happens. It's a process. And I'm so excited because I know that other things that I want for my life are going to happen. And I'm sharing this not to just talk about myself, but to share it with you, to know that it's possible for you as well. And you have the power to create what you want for your life. If you feel stuck with your health, if you feel like you're in this rut, this pattern with maybe guilt around eating or feeling confused with food or your body, or feeling down on your body, maybe feeling like you're doing too much exercise or not enough exercise, and you really just want to get out of that, think about where you would love to be. Think about where you would love to be in your relationships, in your close relationships, your community. Think about where you would like to be in your work, in how you live your life, what's important to you, what you want. And by the way, this is what we get really clear on in the 4-H method in the beginning, so you can build the life that you want. And you learn also not just how to do it during the program, but how to continually do it so you can keep practicing it and keep creating the life that you want. And if you can tap into gratitude of already having had it and already being where you want to be, then oh my goodness, it's inevitable. I love the quote. I was talking with my girlfriend this morning. One of my favorite ideas that I heard from a meditation teacher on Insight Timer. Her first name is Haley. I don't remember her last name, and I'm not sure if she was quoting someone or this is direct from her, but she says, your goals are your goals are not a place to get to, but a place to come from. And if you can already be there in your heart, in your being, in your feelings, in your mind, and create it in your mind first, then it comes out in reality next. The order of transformation is not have, do, be, but be, do, have. And again, this is what the 4-H method is all about. Okay, next thing that I do every morning, a practice that is wonderful for your health, mental and physical and emotional, all of it is meditation. And by meditation, I mean coming into the present moment, however that is. I can think of 3 S's, and there are more that you can use for rest or for stillness or for meditation. And again, I talk about this in the 4-H method. This is the first step in hope, is that we practice rest. But meditation, and I know a lot of people think of meditation as just like sitting and breathing and it being very boring and monotonous. And yes, it is in the beginning. It's a practice. It's like, why am I just sitting here and breathing? But I will say that meditation is one of the most transformative tools that I've used in my life. I discovered it, I think, in 2016. I've been doing it regularly ever since. I have thousands and thousands of hours of meditation that I've done. And it's really helped me so much. Meditation is really just coming into presence. And here are 3 ways that you can practice it. Space, stillness, silence. So space, just creating space for yourself. Like in the mornings, I create that space because I want to make sure that I'm taking care of myself first, no matter what happens for the rest of the day. I wake up early enough, and of course, sometimes with early flights, I have to wake up even earlier. But that's my time, and it is non-negotiable. Even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes of my day, I will get it done. And it's not like I'm beating myself up. It's just like, no, this is so important to me. Space. So creating space for yourself and regularly meeting yourself at a certain time is so helpful for practicing your worth, for meeting with yourself in a deep way, meeting with your higher self, meeting with your spirits, your guides, whatever practice you have, spiritual practice you have, or even if you don't consider yourself spiritual, just meeting with yourself, getting clear with your thoughts. So creating that space for yourself, that sacred space. Another part of meditation is stillness. And this is really hard. I know. I'm someone who cannot sit still in a movie. I get up like 2 or 3 times, which is why I like to go to the movie theater, because it forces me to sit down a little bit more. But if I'm at home, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, I forgot to do this. Oh, I'm gonna go get a snack. Oh, I'm gonna put this snack away. It is so hard for me to sit still. Ever since I was a kid, I've been very active. Like, I just don't like to sit for a long period of time. So if this is a struggle for you, I get it. Maybe you're like, no, I can sit. I actually love to sit. I can sit for hours and not get up. We're different energy levels, and that's okay. But stillness is not just about sitting still. It's about sitting still with yourself and creating that space where there are no distractions or minimal distractions, where you can just be. And I know maybe that sounds terrifying. Like, I don't want to just be with myself. That sounds scary. And that might indicate, I don't know, what does that indicate for you if you're scared of just being? with yourself. We fill our lives with so many distractions, with so much busyness. And by the way, if you're feeling like, I am so busy, I don't have time for anything, I don't have time for myself, you've created that. You can create the other way around. I believe that. I used to not believe that in some ways, but more and more I believe that for a lot of us, when we are filling our lives with busyness and we don't have time for rest and we don't have time for ourselves, we're trying to avoid something, we're escaping something, we're afraid of being still for whatever reason. And usually that's because we just don't want to face ourselves because we're afraid of what we'll see. But the truth is that if you can sit still long enough and be with yourself long enough, you're going to discover how beautiful, how expansive, how wonderful, how amazing, how rich you are as a person. And get to know yourself. You're a wonderful being. Get to know yourself with stillness. And the other thing is silence. And this is not talking, just listening. And this is minimizing distractions through noise. And if you are into this, if you've practiced this, or if you do practice this, you'll realize pretty quickly that complete silence is not really a thing, that there's always noises going on. But when you can become kind of a part of that landscape and be quiet enough to listen to what is going on, you feel so much more connected with things around you. This is great. You can do this in nature. You can do this in your room. If you need to lock the bathroom and shut yourself and put on noise canceling headphones for 5 minutes and just tell everyone, I'm going to be out of commission for 5 minutes. If you bother me or if you try to talk to me, I will not respond, and then just do it. People around you will pick up on that. I'm thinking if you have kids or work or something that feels very demanding, just establish those boundaries with yourself. Give yourself this space, stillness, and silence. Again, if you cannot say no, what are you avoiding? Okay, next one, and this is more about the physical self. The next habit is movement. And I'm adding tracking it because that is a huge part of making it a daily practice. All of these things, by the way, if there's some way that you can write them down, record them, track it, check it off as complete, mark it off on your calendar, it makes the habit so much more effective. You can actually see your progress. And this is why a part of the 4-H method too is you're getting habit trackers for these things, so you're able to keep track of your progress. Okay, so moving your body in love, moving your body needs movement. We are energetic beings. Our bodies, we move through our bodies in this world. Our bodies move through us. And a habit, a super important habit that you can create in the 4-H method and with my clients, I call it my something, that it's a daily movement practice for yourself. And I show you how to do it, especially if you've been used to following, strict workouts, or you feel like you can't get yourself to move unless someone is telling you to, or it feels difficult to find a balance between extreme working out so hard, hours a day, killing yourself, and doing nothing at all, and being a couch potato. This movement practice is so beneficial and helpful for you. Just having a daily movement practice and having that habit allows you to fill that container, so to speak, with different things. So one day it might be a walk, one day it might be stretching, one day it might be an intense workout using resistance training, or one day it might be a run. But if you can have that daily habit, and especially if you can track it, it could be so beneficial for your health. Like, hey, what did I do for my something today? What did I do for my movement? And then lastly, almost last, I have an extra one or two, is food awareness. And I wrote down food review because this really helps you recognize connections between how you're feeling energetically, how you're feeling mentally, how you're feeling physically, and the food you consume. And this is not about dieting or controlling or restricting for the purpose of weight loss or even body recomp, although that can be a part of it. Just like, you have that daily movement practice, and say you have a specific goal, you're going to fill that container with things that will take you closer to the goal. So if you have a food awareness practice daily, you're going to be so much more in sync with your body. You'll be able to trust your body more. And by the way, this is also something that we go over in the 4-H method in detail and practice it for 30 days, just food awareness. And I give you some tips and help on how to do that. But you can even do this with journaling. Start journaling how you're eating, when you're eating, how much you're eating, how it feels in your body, your body's reactions, your energy levels. There's so many different things that you can track depending on what is important to you. But just being aware, like, hey, what did I eat today? For me, I think, how much protein am I getting? Did I get vegetables today? If I'm feeling off, I could pinpoint it. Oh yeah, I ate this, and maybe that's why I feel off. Or I want to make it a goal to eat a little bit more of this because I know that I found last week that this was helpful for me. So just being aware of it, not in a controlling, scary way, but just being aware, because we have to eat, right? We have to eat, and it's something that we do every day, but most of us do it mindlessly. Most of us are in that same pattern of like, oh, I ate too much, I feel guilty, I'll do better tomorrow. Oh, I ate too much, I feel guilty, I'll do better tomorrow. Or we might be in a cycle of, I feel good when I don't eat too much, I'm not going to eat too much. But I'm noticing my body is not reacting well to this, but I have to follow these rules no matter what. So everyone is in a different place, but if you can have a healthy relationship with food, then you can use it as a tool to serve you. And again, that's what we go over in the 4-H method. We start with that food awareness, and then I teach you lots of principles and science behind food to help you make better choices for yourself. So those are the 5 practices that I do. I want to add a couple extra ones. Gratitude, goals or dreams, meditation, movement and tracking it, and food review. And another thing that I make a point to do every day or most days is learn something new. So I love listening to books. I love listening to podcasts. I love watching actually, I don't love watching educational things as much, but I always try to learn something, like read something, listen to something, talk with someone, find something new. And this, because, that's the way to growth, is we're limited only by our knowledge and our application of that knowledge, right? The other thing is I started doing with my partner, I think it was in July or August, we do this thing called Teams, and I learned this from Cody Sanchez. She's an entrepreneur. She's a badass businesswoman, and I get her emails, so I read one of her emails, and she says that she does this with her partner. And I forwarded it to my girlfriend. We had just started dating. I was like, hey, what do you think of this? And we implemented it, and we haven't missed a day since, even if we're very tired. We always do Teams. And sometimes it's Tema, sometimes it's Amit. It's like we switch up the order. But basically, team is touch, education, appreciation, and metric. So you touch each other so that there's this connection. Maybe we'll do a massage, or we'll just hold hands, or just sit together, and I'll put my hand on her leg, or my leg on her hand. Education, what did you learn today? Appreciation, what did you appreciate about me today? And metric, is there anything that you're frustrated with or upset with, or that you would like to change? Or even sometimes we expand it into what's something that's going on that we want to share. But it's a great opportunity to kind of do those. You know how if you don't clean your house for a month, and then when you do clean, you have to do a huge cleaning, versus when you just clean it a little bit every day, then there's not that much to do. This is like a way of cleaning the house every day, just to keep it tidy and putting things away so that it doesn't become a big mess that you have to take care of later on. And it's been really helpful. I attribute a lot of our connection and growth in our relationship to this. So take it if you want. Teams. Sometimes we add something silly at the end to make it that S. But these, if you do have a partner, and you can do this with yourself too. You can say, what did I learn today? What do I appreciate about myself today? And by the way, this is also another habit that I incorporate in the 4-H method. If that sounds like a lot of habits, it is sequential. It goes over time. You're not bombarded with everything at once. You grow into it, and you establish those habits. Anyways, gratitude, your goals and dreams, meditation, movement, and tracking it, and food awareness, plus learning and Teams if you want. Which ones do you do? Which ones do you currently do? Which one stood out to you the most? Like, oh, I want to do it. My encouragement to you is to do it right now. Start immediately and make it something that is doable for you. Don't be like, okay, I'm going to start meditating every day for an hour at 6 a.m. when you're used to not meditating at all and you get up at 8 o'clock and that's just setting yourself up for failure. Start really, really small. And I've learned that's the key to creating habits is like some days I'll write down 5 things I'm grateful for. Some days it'll be 15. Some days I'll go wild and it'll be 20. But it's just a practice. And sometimes, like this morning, I worked out, exercised 5 minutes. Yesterday, I did an hour. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a certain number. It's just a practice of getting it done. You'll notice big differences in your life. So which one stood out to you? Which one would you like to practice? I also have a healthy habits guide that I'll put in the show notes if you want 3 simple steps to creating any habit that could be helpful for you if you're thinking about creating these habits. Another thing that I would say is if you want to do all of these or maybe a few of them, start with one and then work towards the other one, or go very, very small with each of them. So maybe tomorrow, if gratitude is something you want to practice, just say, I'm just going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to set an alarm, and it's going to remind me to think of one thing I'm grateful for. Or I want to really create some space in my life. Don't wait too long to make it happen. Just say, I'm going to start tomorrow or today, and I'm just going to set a 1-minute timer. And when that timer goes off, I'm done. Make it super easy for yourself. Create space in your life. Change anything in your environment that you might need to support this habit, because that's often one of the biggest ways that we don't set ourselves up for success. And remember, if you try it and it doesn't work, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that there's some data about how to do it better. Okay? I like you and I love you, and I hope that this helps you. Please let me know, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey there, me one more time, because this is my podcast. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. If you would be so kind and generous as to leave a review, a good review, it would mean a lot to the podcast and to growing this so more people can get a hold of it. If you would like to get more support, continue listening to this podcast. Follow me on Instagram, friend me on Facebook. You can find me in the link in the show notes. Always feel free to reach out to me. An email is always welcome. Happy to hear from you. And the best way that I actually can help you is, if and when you're ready, is for you to join the 4-H method. It's my signature program, and it helps you make your body your home and your health your hero journey, transforming your health and life from the inside out. Remember, you are worthy, you are powerful. Like you, love you, Coach Michelle.